The sun was shining over the tropical coast, and a little girl smiled as she rode her favorite elephant along the beach. But deep beneath the sparkling waves, a silent threat was already building. No one could imagine that this ordinary morning would turn into a race for life. The morning was so beautiful it felt like a dream. Amber Owen, a bright-eyed 8-year-old from England, sat comfortably on the broad back of a young elephant named Ning Nong. Her small hands gripped the thick rope that secured her to the gentle giant as they strolled along the soft sands of the beach in Thailand. The sky stretched out in a perfect blue canopy overhead, the sun warm but not too hot, casting golden sparkles across the rolling waves. Amber's family had traveled thousands of miles for this vacation. It was their first time visiting Southeast Asia, and everything felt like an adventure straight out of her storybooks. Tropical trees swayed in the breeze, colorful birds darted overhead, and the air smelled of salt water and sunshine. But nothing enchanted her more than Ning Nong. From the moment she first saw the young elephant at the small local elephant camp, she was smitten. Ning Nong had large, intelligent eyes and floppy ears that flapped gently whenever Amber spoke. The elephant seemed to understand her every word, pausing when she asked, moving forward when she urged, as though they shared a secret language no one else could hear. "You're my best friend here," Amber told Ning Nong that morning, giving the elephant's rough skin a gentle pat. Ning Nong let out a soft rumble in reply, a deep, comforting sound that vibrated through Amber's small body. The mahout, the elephant's caretaker, walked beside them, leading Ning Nong along the shoreline with a loose rope. He smiled at Amber's joy, knowing well how special this connection was becoming. All around them, the beach was alive with the peaceful hum of vacation life, families sunbathing, children building sandcastles, the distant buzz of speedboats zipping across the bay. No one had any idea that beneath the calm surface of the sea, a monstrous force had already been set in motion. The morning had started just like any other. Amber's parents had enjoyed breakfast at the seaside cafe, sipping fresh coconut water while watching their daughter ride the elephant along the beach. They waved at her often, and Amber grinned back, feeling like the luckiest girl in the world. "Don't go too far, sweetheart," her mother called. "I won't," Amber replied cheerfully. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Ning Nong led her further down the beach where the crowds thinned and the sand felt softer underfoot. Then something unusual happened. The waves, which had been rhythmically lapping at the shore, suddenly began to pull back. Amber noticed first. She tilted her head, puzzled, as she watched the water recede far beyond where it usually lay. The wet sand glistened, revealing seashells and stranded fish flopping helplessly in the open. "Look," Amber pointed. "Why is the water running away?" The mahout frowned deeply. He had lived by the sea his entire life, but he had never seen anything like this. Around them, other tourists noticed too, their voices rising in confusion. Some saw opportunity. They rushed onto the newly exposed seabed, eager to collect shells and take photos of the rare sight. Amber's parents stood from their cafe seats, their expressions tightening with concern. The mahout hesitated, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Something felt wrong. Terribly wrong. And Ning Nong, as if sensing the tension in the air, shifted uneasily beneath Amber. The elephant's ears stiffened and she raised her trunk high, sniffing the salty breeze. A deep rumble vibrated from her chest, louder this time, almost a warning. Amber could feel Ning Nong's nervous energy through the soles of her bare feet. "Is she scared?" she asked, her voice small. Before the mahout could answer, a low, far-off roar reached their ears. It was subtle at first, almost like the rumble of distant thunder. But it grew louder, deeper, until it seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. Then, like a nightmare made real, a dark line appeared on the horizon, a wall of water, rising and racing toward the shore. The mahout's eyes widened in horror. "Run," he shouted, his voice sharp with urgency. "Tsunami!" Amber's heart leapt into her throat. She had heard the word before, but never imagined she would see it with her own eyes. Ning Nong didn't wait for further instruction. The elephant turned abruptly away from the sea, her massive feet pounding the sand as she broke into a determined run inland, Amber still clinging to her back. The mahout sprinted alongside them, shouting in Thai to others on the beach, urging them to higher ground. Amber held on tightly, her knuckles white, tears stinging her eyes as the once peaceful beach dissolved into chaos around her. People screamed. Children cried out for their parents. Tourists stumbled as they tried to flee the approaching wave. But Ning Nong ran with purpose, her strong legs thundering over the sand, her mind focused solely on getting Amber to safety. The landscape blurred past them as they charged inland. Palm trees whipped by, huts and shops abandoned in panic. Ahead, Amber saw the same hill where locals sometimes picnicked and watched the sunsets. "Go, Ning Nong!" Amber cried as though the elephant needed her encouragement. The wave was closing in fast, devouring everything in its path. Salt spray filled the air, and the terrible roar of water grew deafening. But Ning Nong pressed on. The elephant's muscles bunched and flexed beneath her thick hide as she carried Amber up the slope, step by pounding step. Mud splashed beneath her feet, and the wind howled with rising fury. Behind them, the tsunami crashed ashore. The force of the water shattered beach huts, overturned vehicles, and swept debris like toys in a flood. Screams were swallowed by the thunder of the wave. Amber dared to glance back and saw the ocean swallowing the place where she had just been. Her heart clenched in terror. But then she felt Ning Nong's powerful body surge forward, climbing higher still, away from the chaos below. The elephant's determination never faltered. Together, they reached the crest of the hill. At the top, safe from the raging water, Ning Nong came to a halt. Her sides heaved with exertion, but she remained steady, her ears flicking, her eyes scanning the devastation below. Amber slipped from the elephant's back, her legs trembling beneath her. She clung to Ning Nong's side, tears streaking her cheeks as she looked out over the flooded landscape. The beach was gone. The market stalls, the sun loungers, the familiar paths she had walked just hours before, all buried beneath a churning sea of debris. "Thank you," she whispered hoarsely, her hand pressed against Ning Nong's warm skin. "Thank you for saving me." The elephant rumbled softly in reply, as if to say, "It's not over yet. Stay close." And Amber did. Even as her parents, faces pale with fear, scrambled up the hill to find her. Even as rescue workers and survivors gathered on the heights, trying to understand the horror that had unfolded. Even as the day turned to evening and the once clear sky burned with the red and orange hues of sunset. Through it all, Amber stayed by Ning Nong's side, her tiny figure nestled against the great beast who had carried her to safety. As night fell over the battered coast of Thailand, Amber drifted into an exhausted sleep against her savior's side. The wind whispered through the palm trees, carrying with it the echoes of lives changed forever. And Ning Nong, ever watchful, stood like a silent sentinel over the sleeping girl, her brave heart still beating strong. The world was unrecognizable. When Amber Owen awoke, the sky above her was a dull gray, heavy with smoke and clouds. Her arms were wrapped tightly around Ning Nong's sturdy leg, her cheek resting against his rough, warm skin. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. The tropical paradise of that morning felt like a fading dream. She blinked at the debris-strewn landscape below, her mind sluggish with fear and exhaustion. Then it all came crashing back. The wave. The roar. The people screaming, the sea swallowing the land. Amber's chest tightened, her breath quick and shallow. "Mommy." "Daddy," she whimpered, her voice barely above a whisper. Her gaze swept the hillside, but all she could see were scattered survivors, many in shock, others calling for their loved ones. Some were injured, others silent and wide-eyed, staring at the ruins below. Ning Nong shifted beside her, letting out a low, resonant rumble. It was a sound of reassurance, a living heartbeat in the middle of devastation. Amber tightened her grip on the elephant's leg. She didn't know where her parents were, but she knew one thing for certain: Ning Nong wouldn't leave her side. All around them, the hill had become a makeshift refuge. Rescue workers and local villagers scrambled to organize the survivors, tending to wounds, counting heads, and trying to make sense of the chaos. A man in a faded red shirt shouted instructions in Thai, urging people to stay together. Another ran past with a bundle of blankets, handing them to shivering tourists. Helicopters chopped through the smoky air, circling above the flooded coastline. Amber's eyes filled with tears as she looked out over what used to be the beach. Where only hours earlier there had been sunbathers and children building sand castles, now there was only a swirling mass of broken wood, overturned boats, and scattered debris. But even amid the destruction, Ning Nong stood tall and steady, a beacon of safety for the frightened little girl at his feet. Time blurred. Amber didn't know how many hours passed as she waited on the hillside, her small hand clutching tightly at Ning Nong's leathery skin. The elephant's presence was her anchor. He didn't wander off, didn't stray, didn't so much as shift his weight unless Amber moved first. When she grew thirsty, villagers shared water bottles, pressing them gently into her hands. When she grew cold, someone draped a towel over her thin shoulders. But it was Ning Nong who kept her grounded, his massive body radiating warmth and comfort. And still, in her heart, a gnawing fear. Where are Mommy and Daddy? Down below, rescue teams scoured the ruins of the beachfront resort, calling out names, searching for survivors. Among them, frantic and desperate, were Amber's parents. "Amber!" her mother cried, her voice raw from shouting. "Amber, where are you?" her father bellowed, his eyes scanning every face, every shadow. Fear twisted in their chests like a vice. They had seen the wave crash over the beach, seen it sweep away stalls and chairs, seen it tear through the place where they had last watched their daughter play. Every parent's nightmare clawed at their minds. Then, a breath of hope. One of the villagers waved them toward the hill, pointing urgently. "There," he shouted in broken English. "Girl, elephant." Without hesitation, they ran. At the top of the hill, Amber heard the shouting. Her heart leapt. She turned toward the sound, her eyes searching, wide and wet. And then there they were. Her parents scrambled over the last rise of the hill, their faces etched with worry, clothes soaked and torn, but alive. "Mommy! Daddy!" Amber cried, her voice breaking with relief. Carol and James Owen rushed forward, scooping their daughter into their arms, holding her as though they would never let her go again. Tears streamed down their faces as they kissed her cheeks and forehead, clutching her tightly. "Oh, Amber," Carol sobbed, rocking her gently. "We thought we'd lost you." "I was with Ning Nong," Amber whispered, her voice trembling. "He saved me." Her parents turned to look at the young elephant, standing watchfully nearby. James swallowed the lump in his throat, his gaze full of awe. "Thank you," he said hoarsely, stepping closer to the elephant. "Thank you for saving our little girl." Ning Nong responded with a soft rumble, as if to say, "I did what I had to do." The reunion sparked a small wave of hope among the exhausted survivors on the hill. If Amber had made it, if she could be found, then perhaps others could too. As the day wore on, rescue helicopters landed nearby, ferrying the injured to makeshift medical centers. Villagers shared food and supplies, strangers comforting strangers. And all the while, Ning Nong stayed with Amber and her family, refusing to leave the girl's side. When helicopters thundered overhead, he lifted his trunk protectively. When volunteers offered blankets, he huffed softly, ensuring Amber was warm before he settled himself on the ground beside her. The bond between the child and the elephant had grown unbreakable in the face of disaster. They were survivors together. Night fell once more. This time, there was no hotel room for Amber to sleep in, no soft bed beneath her, no gentle hum of an air conditioner. Instead, she lay curled beneath the starry sky, nestled between her parents and the comforting bulk of Ning Nong's side. The air was cool, but the warmth of family and the loyal elephant kept her safe. As she drifted toward sleep, Amber's mother brushed her hair back from her face. "You're our brave girl," she whispered. "Our miracle." But Amber shook her head sleepily. "Not me," she murmured. "Ning Nong is the hero." And in her heart, she promised, "I'll never forget you, my friend. Never." As dawn crept over the horizon, helicopters arrived once again, this time carrying supplies and foreign journalists. The story of the brave elephant who had saved a little girl from the tsunami had already begun to spread. Cameras captured footage of Ning Nong resting near Amber, his eyes half-lidded but alert. Reporters whispered in awe about the miracle of the child and the elephant. One journalist, wiping tears from her eyes, said softly, "In a sea of tragedy, this is a story of hope." And indeed it was. In the days that followed, as relief poured into the region and families began to piece their lives back together, Amber and her family were safely evacuated from the disaster zone. But Amber couldn't bear to leave without saying goodbye. On the day of their departure, she stood before Ning Nong, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you, Ning Nong," she said, stroking his trunk one last time. "You saved my life." The elephant rumbled low in his chest, curling his trunk gently around her wrist in a final gesture of affection. Amber's father captured the moment in a photograph, a frame of pure emotion, a bond between girl and beast that would last a lifetime. As the car pulled away from the village, Amber pressed her face to the window, watching as Ning Nong slowly faded from view. But in her heart he remained. Her guardian, her hero, her forever friend. The gray sky of England felt so different from the bright sun of Thailand. Amber Owen pressed her forehead against the airplane window as clouds rolled beneath them, her breath fogging the glass. Her thoughts, though thousands of miles away from the tropical coast they had left behind, were still with Ning Nong. Her brave friend. Her hero. The plane had lifted off hours earlier, carrying her family away from the place where their lives had been forever changed. Yet even as the seatbelt light flicked off and the flight attendants moved quietly down the aisles, Amber's heart felt heavy with a strange mixture of gratitude and sadness. She was safe. Her family was safe. But Ning Nong, he had stayed behind. Amber's fingers curled tightly around the stuffed elephant toy in her lap, a small gift given to her by a kind airport worker in Bangkok. "He'll always be with you," the woman had said with a soft smile. Amber hugged the toy closer to her chest. "I won't forget you, Ning Nong. Not ever." When the Owens landed at London Heathrow Airport, they were met by a sea of flashing cameras and reporters. The story of Amber and her elephant rescuer had spread across the world like wildfire. Journalists crowded around the family as they stepped through the arrivals gate, their voices overlapping. "Amber, how did the elephant save you? Mr. and Mrs. Owen, how do you feel about your daughter's miraculous escape? Amber, do you have anything you'd like to say to the world?" Amber blinked under the bright camera lights, holding tightly to her father's hand. James Owen raised his free hand to gently shield his daughter from the frenzy. "Please," he said firmly, "give us time." The crowd quieted just a little as the family made their way toward the exit. Amber's mother leaned down, whispering in her daughter's ear. "It's okay, sweetheart," she said softly. "You're home now." But in Amber's heart, home felt incomplete. Not without Ning Nong. In the days that followed, their house was filled with visitors and letters from strangers. Cards from across the world arrived daily, many of them addressed simply to the brave girl and her elephant friend. Some contained drawings of Amber riding on Ning Nong's back, others were filled with words of admiration and love. One letter, written by a school in Australia, read, "Dear Amber, you and Ning Nong are heroes. You are so brave. We hope you can visit our school one day and tell us your story." Amber smiled at the colorful crayon drawings of elephants and sunshine. The kindness of strangers warmed her heart, but it also deepened the ache inside her. Because the more people talked about Ning Nong, the more she missed him. Late one afternoon, as rain tapped gently against the window pane, Amber sat at the kitchen table with a sheet of paper in front of her. She had made a decision. "I want to write to Ning Nong," she told her parents, her eyes shining with determination. Her mother set down her cup of tea, smiling softly. "That's a wonderful idea, darling." Amber took her favorite pen and began to write. "Dear Ning Nong, thank you for saving my life. I was so scared when the big wave came, but you were brave. You didn't run away. You carried me to the hill and kept me safe. I miss you every day. England is cold and rainy, and I wish you were here to make it sunny again. I hope you are okay and that you are being looked after. I wish I could see you and give you a big hug. You are my hero. I love you very much. Your friend forever, Amber." When she finished, her father folded the letter neatly and placed it into an envelope. They found the address of the elephant sanctuary in Thailand where Ning Nong lived and mailed it together, Amber slipping the envelope into the postbox with care. As it disappeared inside, she whispered, "Please let him know how much I love him." Weeks passed. Life slowly returned to something like normal, though Amber knew things would never be quite the same. At school, her classmates asked endless questions about her adventure. "Weren't you scared? What's it like to ride an elephant? Will you go back to visit Ning Nong?" Amber answered as best she could, but in her heart she wished for just one thing, to see Ning Nong again. And then, one sunny morning, a package arrived from Thailand. Amber's eyes widened with surprise as her mother opened the box. Inside was a photograph of Ning Nong standing proudly in his sanctuary, surrounded by caretakers who held up a sign. "Amber, Ning Nong misses you too." Tears welled in Amber's eyes as she traced the photo with her fingers. There was also a small elephant figurine carved from wood and a letter from the sanctuary's director. "Dear Amber, your letter reached us and we shared it with Ning Nong. We believe he understands, as he gave a loud trumpet when we read it aloud. He is healthy and well and continues to be the hero of our sanctuary. Thank you for reminding the world of the special bond between humans and animals." Amber hugged the photograph to her chest, her heart swelling with joy. "He's okay," she whispered. "He's okay." As time went on, Amber's story continued to inspire people across the globe. Television shows invited her to speak, and children's books were written about her incredible escape. A documentary team visited the sanctuary to film Ning Nong and share his bravery with the world. Amber watched the program with her family, tears in her eyes as she saw her elephant friend on the screen, trumpeting proudly. And even though miles and oceans separated them, Amber felt their bond was unbreakable. Heroes, after all, are never truly apart from those they save. On the anniversary of the tsunami, Amber and her family held a small ceremony in their garden. They planted a tree in honor of Ning Nong, decorating its branches with ribbons and tiny wooden elephants. As they stood beneath the tree, Amber closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Ning Nong. You'll always be my hero." The wind rustled the leaves gently, and in her heart Amber could almost hear a familiar rumble, the sound of her brave friend watching over her from afar.